Hello and welcome back. If you watched a previous YouTube video about low ticket versus high ticket promotions on Meta for patient generation for your Medspa, nurse, esthetician, injector, solo practitioner, this is a natural continuation of that episode. If you haven't, the recap of that is basically question: when you're running ads on Meta, what do you normally want to push towards your prospects? Do you want to run a low ticket service or do you want to try a high ticket package? And the reason why I'm starting on this particular ads library, which by the way, if in case you don't know, this is just Meta's ads library, everyone has access to it. It's because I feel like right now these guys are illustrating the concept that I want to go into in a second, the most obvious way, and that is running loss leaders. If you've ever come across their ads, or if you have anyone in your competitive landscape in your geographic area who is running these extremely low ticket introductory new patient specials, you've probably been gobsmacked. You're probably wondering, how is this even humanly possible? How is this making any business sense whatsoever? Because I mean, look around, look at this. They're running facelifts, they're running non-surgical body contour and cavitation, laser hair removal. What else are they doing? Saggy jowls, turkey neck, facelifts. All of these ticket items are in the range of 59, 69, 79, 89. To be clear, for contrast, we've never touched anything less than 149. Oftentimes, these services we promote at 299, even 399 for that initial session. And for some of you, you may think that even that is too low when you compare it to your normal price from your menu, okay? And so let me try and first explain to you why and who in their right mind would run this kind of price point. This, by the way, is called a loss leader, and it's when you sell something at a loss or break even to acquire a customer, betting that you'll make a profit on the back end. Who would do that and why? The objective and what this is ultimately solving for is very low cost per lead, because as you can imagine, a low price point generates a ton of appeal to a very wide pool of audience. The misunderstanding here, the misexpectation is that only, I would say, low income patients are interested in these offers and they're the only ones that get attracted to it. But that is the caveat, that is the catch-22, because even affluent clients like a good discount if they're seeing one. And I know you're probably tempted to think about Groupon and compare all of these patients with Groupon clients, customers. The only difference is that when someone goes to Groupon, they're there on their website specifically with the mindset and the expectation of buying a discount. Whereas this, if it's run on Facebook as a interrupt kind of advertising, it's going to surprise even the most wealthy clients with a price point that hopefully is going to attract them. And on the other hand, just to bear this in mind, is not going to alienate them, because oftentimes if the price is too low, it looks kind of suspect, right? And so that is the rationale. That's the reason why anyone would try and run these kinds of offers. Costco is doing it with their hot dog, with their soda. IKEA is doing it as well. All kinds of retailers are doing the exact same thing, especially during tentpole moments like Black Friday and back to school. They're running a loss on those introductory products to get people in through the door. They're lead magnets, they're hooks, they're tripwire offers. They have different kinds of names, okay? And that's because they understand that once you come in, you're not just going to buy the hot dog or the rotisserie chicken that's being discounted. You're going to fill up your card, and then you're going to fill up your gas tank on the way out as well. In the Medspa world, the way that looks is, well, you've seen here the most extreme example, but then something that's a bit more sensible that you're also going to see all over the ads library if you do a bit of research is these 149 price point for laser hair removal, for body contouring, for skin tightening, for a bit of Botox, which a lot of med spas are actually taking a bit of a hit on, because it costs them $200 when you factor in the ad spend, the no-shows, the staff time, the consumables. But of course, if you convert 50% into a $2,000 package for multiple sessions, then you're actually profitable. And that is the math behind it. Now let's look at when the math breaks and when it doesn't make sense, because we've seen this so many times. There's a lot of pushback to running these offers, and I agree. If you're missing a couple of components on the back end, which makes this thing profitable from a unit economics, then you shouldn't even touch it, okay? So quick math, if you want to run through it and make sense of it yourself, just feel free to pause the video, but let me just give you a quick whiz through. Let's say ad spend $50, staff time 75, consumables about 30. Of course, if you have a microneedling device with a more expensive tip like Morpheus 8, then that's going to be way higher than that. No shows. You have to assume a no show even when you're taking the deposit. And so that will make your effective cost per lead 71 and your cost per completed sesh 225. So you can see how you're losing $26 here. Now, obviously, if you have a robust back end in the form of 50% upsells and a good profit margin, then you would be absolutely crushing with a total of 244 net profit per intro client. Okay. Of course, this is where it breaks down. If only 20% of them buy packages, and I know a lot of Medspa owners think that a low ticket price point will inherently attract more discount hunters. And there may be truth to it. You have to test it. And so if 20% of them buy packages and the profit margin 60, then with that minus loss, you're basically at $82 net profit per intro client. With a 30% no show, your CAC is really higher, and so you're barely breaking even or losing money. Trust me on the math. I've checked it. If you want to pause a verified, go for it. Now, here's one big caveat, one big litmus test that you need to conduct when you're getting patients in for these low ticket price points. A lot of med spas will think, oh, these people don't upsell because they're just Groupon low ticket bargain hunters. You have to get them to apply for financing or payment plans. If you do, or if you get them to swipe their card, then essentially you've done your job to try and close these guys. And then you know for a fact that it's not your sales process. Why do I stress this? It's because if you don't do this, then you're potentially going to throw away a very valid business strategy, acquisition strategy that's clearly being practiced at scale by some of the biggest and most established med spas in the US. Only because you're doubting that it's a legitimate way of doing business, when in fact really the problem is the sales process. And that sales process is something that's going to hold you back from making a lot of money and asymmetric returns, even on higher ticket price points. And that is definitely something that you do not want to ignore. If your staff is struggling with upsells, if you're unable to get people to even apply for financing, I mean, look, if they get rejected for financing, then clearly they're not the right leads. But they have to get to the point of applying in the first place. Once they apply for it, then you've done your job to pitch, to close, to handle objections, okay? And then you know that if only you can fix the lead quality, and that's easy, by the way, by just bumping the price up a little bit, by asking some qualification questions, then they're gonna land on a robust back end with solid sales, and they will convert at 40, 50, 60, 70%. The counterexample to that is we have clients, Medspa partners, who are upselling people whose cars are literally breaking down in the parking lot just outside the Medspa. They're upselling them, and of course they're not getting through because they get rejected, their credit score is shot, and then they find other ways to downsell them, like appointment wise. They come in one at a time. There's ways to capitalize and basically scoop up everything, not leave any money on the table in those cases as well. But obviously you want those to be the exception, not the norm. You don't want to be handling those clients on a regular. And so the way to find out if you're running loss leaders or just losses is to see if you're losing money on the intro. But if you have a systemized backend and you convert and you have good lifetime value, those clients stay with you, maybe even refer others, then obviously this is making sense for you. If you're losing money on the other side, if your conversion is below 30%, then it's pretty clear that this is not working for you. And so what can you do instead? I'm going to skip straight to my advice, which is don't run loss leaders in that case. Just start with profitable front-end offers instead. I would actually say that from experience, there is pretty diminishing returns between running an absolute loss leader and something that's somewhat profitable, or at least break even on the front end. And as an example, you have a $399 for your first session with your consultation with some takeaway home care. It costs you about 50%. You're profiting $224, and you can still sell on the package. So this guarantees that you're profitable. So it gives you room and margin for error on the upsell. Even if you're not upselling, you're not going to dig yourself into a hole. You pre-qualify because obviously that will 100% alienate any bargain hunters. You still have the upsell opportunity, and the only caveat to it, you do get lower volume. So imagine if you have $1,000 to put into advertising, If it costs you $250 to get one patient, you can only get 4 of them. If it costs you $100 to get patients, then you could get 10 of them. So essentially, you've reduced your number of opportunities to upsell by more than 50%. And this is why, as a complete beginner, I would advocate for you to start running at the lowest friction point possible. Just get as many people in through the doors so you can practice that selling muscle. So your staff can practice objections, so they can understand how people and customers come and present themselves in all shapes and forms. And once they've done the reps, once they're comfortable, then you can start increasing the price point, knowing that those leads are going to be more expensive. Those patients showing up are going to cost you more, and you do not want to squander those opportunities. Your team has to be dialed by that point. And so consider both options. If you're pretty ahead in your Medspa journey and you can afford to run loss leaders from a unit economic standpoint, then you can consider them, but track your cost per lead, track your booking rate, your show rate, your package conversion rate, and your lifetime value, and make sure that this is still profitable for you. Typically, you want a ratio of at least 3, if not 6, or in some instances, even 10 to 1 on lifetime value, gross profit, to the cost of acquisition, because that's going to give you wiggle room when you change staff, when you change processes. It's just a number that makes sense. And of course, the way to get there is to have a killer sales process, generating a 40% package conversion. Scenario B is a break-even self-liquidating offer on the front end. And of course, if you're running a body contour and cavitation, for example, or a American cryo or skin tightening that has no or low consumables, then you can try and do that price slightly lower. You can try a $149, you can try a $199, a $249. You have to play with that price point. You have to find the point of diminishing returns. The point of diminishing returns is where it costs you more to generate the lead with Facebook ads than the money you're actually collecting on the front end. And from there on, it just doesn't make sense to keep charging more. Of course, again, track your cost per lead, booking rate, all of those metrics, and accept that for this to be pulled off successfully, you need better ads, you need good brand, you need premium positioning, and you need an absolutely pristine consultation process, because you need to make sure that you can upsell every single one of those more expensive opportunities. All right, cool. Most med spas want to run high ticket packages on the front end. It just doesn't make any sense from a cost per lead appointment sort of unit economics and numbers, which is why I will always advise that you start with the lowest price point first. And in doing so, you fix your sales process, your scripts, your training, your follow-up. And then the loss leader model can print money, or at least a self-liquidating model can get you to a profitable point pretty early. Okay. Of course, if you don't fix the sales process, you should run profitable front-end offers to stop the bleeding, but accept and understand that you're still not going to make those crazy returns. The clients that we have generating 10x return on their ad spend are doing so in the upsells, in the back end. The front end is never going to be able to generate those kinds of returns. If you're happy to just break even to maybe 2x your return just to stay in business and to have money to reinvest in the ads, to continue to perfect your craft, your processes, and to train your team, then obviously you've got to start somewhere. The most important thing is obviously to not stop, to keep running those ads, and to make sure that you're moving forward. And whenever you see something wild, like these low ticket front end offers, a lot of clients are asking me, how is it that some of their competitors are running Botox offers for extremely low prices? And they think they're doing shady things like diluting the Botox or offering stuff that's maybe not FDA approved from Korea or whatnot. And to be clear, that may be true, but also it could just be true that they're running loss leaders because they've worked out their numbers and they're confident on their back end and on their memberships, and they understand the numbers on the spreadsheet. So obviously look at it with a very critical eye and understand that maybe there's something that you don't know about it that they do. Maybe there's something that you can learn from it if you lean into it. And of course, stealing ethically, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, right? Good artists copy, great artists steal. Isn't that how it goes? Cool. I hope this is useful. Until next video, try and implement this, and to your success. See you in the next one.